Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Tawantinsuyu, the Inca Empire. So Tawantinsuyu is I want to say the latest game, but it was last year's 2020, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say that anymore because, we're a little bit into 2021, in fact halfway through 2021. This game is put out by Board and Dice. It's designed by David Searchy, and it is a 1 to 4 player game. This is a part of that set of games that has Tekehenyu and Teotihuacan in it. And we keep getting this kind of similar feel, but they're vastly different games each time. Now, I had a play of this with my wife the other day. I played Tekehenyu with my wife the other day. We did them one after the other in separate days. The first time that I had Tekehenyu, I fear that she looked at it and gone, oh, that's too big, I'm not going to handle that at all. We played this one, and then we played Tekehenyu after it, as in the next day, and she took it in okay, and to be honest with you, she won both of the games. And I really like that when she wins those games, because it means that she's really got a grasp of it, and she's probably going to like it about 25% more than if she hadn't won. So, this game, Tawantinsuyu, is a game that has a lot going on. There's not much going on, but there's a lot going on at the same time. So on your turn, you have two options. You either move your high priest around a little area in the middle of the board, which isn't going to happen too often. At least that's how I found the game playing. Other people may play it differently and move him a lot. It's really up to you which way you go on it. But the major part of the game is the other part. I have a meeple, I put it out somewhere on the board. Depending on which way my high priest is facing, it's going to cost me some potatoes or some food to be able to place my meeple out on the board. How far down the structure it is and how far around from the priest, or the direction the priest is looking, will cost you some more food if you're further away from him. Once you place your meeple in, you have three options, three things that you could do. Now, some of the meeples will do two things, or an extra thing, should I say. Others will give you some different bonuses depending on what color meeple you put down. And then there's the choosing what of those three things to do. If you only have one action, you choose one of the three. The way to get more actions is by putting the same colored meeple next to others of its same color. So for every one of the same color that you put it next to, you get another action. So it's actually possible to have a whole bunch of actions. Usually you'll find you only have like 2 or 3, but it's possible to get 5 actions depending on where you place it, depending on what other meeples are around. And so you end up chasing after these kind of sections of the board to be able to get more and more actions out of them. The actions, if you go above 3, you need to spend those actions as equally as possible. So there's one on each thing, and then the second one on something. And if you have another action, again, you can't put a third one onto that something. It's got to be a second one on something else. Finding that balance is really the key to the game. There's a whole bunch going on with that choice. And there's only so many choices of places to put your meeple, but each meeple does something slightly different. So there's not only a choice of where to put, but what to put in the place so that you can get various things coming in. Now you'll have cards, and those cards have symbols on them. If you can line up the symbols on the cards with where you're placing your meeple, you can use a card to place the meeple. If you don't have a card to place that meeple, you're going to have to spend some gold to place that meeple. And that suddenly gets really finicky, because quite often you can see a spot that you desperately want to get to, but you don't have any gold and you don't have the card with that symbol to enable you to get there. And so you're having to find other spots that you can go. And I found that when I was playing, quite a lot of the time, I would sit there looking, going, okay, I've got these 3 symbols. I want to do this action. Where on the board can I go that will allow me to do that action with that symbol? And then, how much food is it going to cost me to get there from where my high priest is? Do I have enough food to pay for it? Do I have enough stuff to be able to do the action that I wish to once I've paid the food? There's a whole bunch of stuff going on with that thought process of where to go. And I think that's really what the game is the thinking on where to go and how to manipulate that board to enable you to do as well as possible. I found that going after the Incan gods, which are some little tokens that are next to the board, if you can pick them up, which will cost you some stone, the big ones cost you some gold as well, that will push you forward dramatically. And you really need to do that and move up the temple track in order to win this game. That's really where the game's at. You don't have to do that at any point in the game, but you will find that the people who are doing best, at least this is my experience, I may be a little bit lopsided on my experience, but my experience is that those two things, if you can get them working for you, that will help you win the game. There's a whole bunch of other elements on the board, so you can build a tapestry. You want to get that tapestry as long as you possibly can, but you can't put the same colored pieces into the tapestry. The ends of each tapestry piece, if they're matching, that will get you some bonuses when something else happens. There's so much of this, do this and something else will happen, and do that and something else will happen, stuff going on, that I found that when I tried to get this to the table, it took me at least 3 or 4 goes of read the rules, set the game up, no, I'm not up to it, set the game up, read the rules, no, I'm not up to it, and just putting it out, pulling it back, putting it out, pulling it back, until I actually bit the bullet and got some time to play it by myself. I think it took me about 3 hours to get through the understanding of the game just by myself, which is what I tend to do with new games before I present them to my wife to actually have a game of it. I will get myself comfortable with the rules and comfortable with, this is how everything's going to work, so that I can find a way to describe it to her so that she will understand it. And so then once I played it, I can then describe it to you so you will understand it. And that's really my process. But I found that getting it out and trying to get that first play by myself just to understand the rules was so hard. And I fear that it's because of the thickness of the rules. Okay, you've got 5 different colored meeples. Each of them does something slightly different. This is what they do. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, when you place it here, you will get this stuff. When you place it here, you can pick up this many cards and have a look at them and choose one. It's going to cost you this much. And my issue is that some of the information is on the board. So placing stairs onto the board is on the board. So what you get for placing those stairs, that's there. The cost of picking up those gods, that's on the board. The cost of picking up a tapestry is not. So you kind of need to go into the rules every now and then to look up issues like that that aren't present on the board. They might be, but I didn't see them anywhere. I may have gone a little bit blind on a corner of the board or something to that effect. I didn't see them anywhere. I don't think they're there. Little elements like that are so hard to kind of get your head on. I've found that I had to keep going back to the rules to go, okay, what happens here? Okay, this happens here. Okay, what happens on this one? Okay, this happens. And just getting a flow of the game. That's really the biggest issue with this one, is getting a flow. The game itself plays really nicely, and it's really intuitive almost of, I want to put this down to get this stuff, to get this. But remembering the little detail on the rules, that's really tough. And finding that little detail to bring back in is really tough. And I find that the games that I've been playing the last couple of years, the ones that I've really enjoyed are ones where it's really straightforward what the intention of the rules is. So you might have, for example, like a brass. You play a card, that card tells you that you can put a thing into this city. To go in this city, is pictures there that tell you what you can do. It's just intuitive, and it tells you what to do as you're playing the game. Whereas a game like this, it tells you a lot of the information as you're playing, but a heck of a lot of the small detailed information, you've got to keep going back to the rules unless you're remembering it. But in order to remember that stuff, you probably need to do it quite often. And we've seen the collection behind me, and that's, to be honest, is a small collection. It's only maybe 400 games strong. I don't understand how people can expect you to remember rules when you have a game collection this size, because you're not going to be coming back at the game all the time. I'm expecting this will probably only come out once or twice in the next year or so. That's just how it is. That's how gaming is. That's what the society of everything looks like right at this point in time. With that knowledge, all the information of what you need in terms of, if I take this card, I'm going to have to spend and things like that, because it is different on every element that needs to be present on the board to make it really understandable for anyone playing. So look, I think that's all I need to say about Tawantinsuyu. Please go ahead and watch my Gamesplain and Gamesplay to get a feel for how the game plays and what the rules are and what I'm all talking about. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email to thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.